All right, Ben Parker of CardinalSportsReports.com here with Stanford wide receivers coach Tyler Osborne. So, first of all, just talk about how are the wide receivers looking so far this spring?
Yeah, they're doing really well. We have a really young group, especially kind of even with the guys that had a lot of success last year, right? They were, Tiger and Ellick, right? They were freshmen and had a couple of the guys, in the mix that played well too last year. But for the most part, it's a young group. So this spring ball and really this offseason with the strength and conditioning staff has been really important, right? Just for their development. And they're progressing really well. And so really been pleased with especially the young guys' progress. I think we're going to have quite a bit of depth this year, a lot more than we had last year. So, there's times like against Colorado, right? Alex pretty tired and gassed, in that second half, and as we get into overtime, and it would have been great to be able to, supplement him with some other guys, but I don't think the room was kind of in that position last year, to where we feel comfortable playing as many guys as we do now this year. And so, yeah, just kind of continuing to build depth and kind of a little dinged up, like every group gets, right, as you get a lot of reps, but they're doing really well.
And what are the main things you're trying to emphasize with your group right now in the spring period?
Yeah, fundamentally, a lot of it's just coming off the ball with better pad level. A lot of these young guys, right, like when they played in high school, right, maybe they didn't have to sell the vertical and everything quite like they do in college. These college DBs do an incredible job of being able to be kind of tipped off, right, if we're not doing a great job with our body language of selling vertical in our routes. And so we've been drilling that a lot, just working on our body lean and, our pad level and things of that nature to kind of, get more of a cushion, and get more separation from DBs, even before the break point. And so that's been a big point of emphasis. And, for a lot of young guys, right, it's just, it's consistency, right? So some of them flash and they do some great things day in and day out, but it's just being more consistent, at every point in their game. And that's what I've been really pleased with. A lot of these guys have really improved their consistency in all areas.
Zara Malley mentioned me last week. He feels Emmett Mosley's looking really good. Just kind of what have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Emmett's he's a smooth athlete, very fluid. When I recruited him last year, I was very excited about his athleticism and just overall feel for the game. You can watch some guys and just watch their tape and you can tell they're very competitive, right? And they got a great understanding for the game and how to run routes and things of that nature. And so he checked a lot of boxes for me in the recruiting process, in terms of kind of the evaluation part of it. And so I knew right away that he was a guy that would fit into what, we want to do here in Coach Taylor's offense. And, he could really play from an athletic standpoint, but also was a very smart football player that fits into kind of what we do within our scheme. And so, yeah, he's done really well so far. And the sky's the limit for that kid. He's got a really bright future here.
And also with Ellick out, just kind of what you kind of message him. What are you kind of telling him to kind of do as he kind of rehabs right now during the spring process?
Yeah, a lot of it's staying locked in and helping coach up some of these young guys, on the side. So, why we're maybe getting reps, right? I'm focusing the guys that are out there in the field. He's on the sideline reading the play to those guys to, make sure they're engaged, coaching them up. Hey, did you see this? You see that? Which I think not only helps his development, right? Because to me, if you can teach something, right, and help people learn, that means you got to know it pretty well, right? And so that's really helping his development, I think, know this offense like the back of his hand. And, for him, obviously he's, training to get back in here and should get him back soon. But at the end of the day, he's doing a really good job kind of with the mental aspect of staying locked in.
Just kind of talk about how you've kind of gone about kind of developing your repertoire as a coach in terms of drills that you do. Just kind of how did you kind of develop that formula for drills and whatnot?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to work under some unbelievable coaches. First and foremost, my dad was a college football coach for over 35 years, about 25 years in the pack. And so, I got some good things from him, right? But then also got to be I was exposed to some unbelievable coaches since the day I could walk and remember, and so I've always tried to be a little student of the game. And some of the guys I've got a chance to work with over my career, I'd be forgetting a lot of them if I tried to name them all. And so, I picked up a lot of things that they did and really liked, and kind of, things that fit my philosophy I've adapted and basically taken on. And then there's just some things that, sometimes you have a problem, right, or an issue with the group as far as like, hey, maybe we're not releasing well, and maybe it has to do with, our pad level or, how we're using our hands, and what's something that I can basically force a drill to where the guys have to use, maybe their hands, or where they have to use, this body position, and just kind of trying to be creative and kind of, try different drills out and figure out what can work. And I think after a while you start to really hone in on what's really helping the guys and maybe something that's not really making a difference.
Yeah, and then just kind of thoughts on what you've seen from Tiger Bachmeyer so far this spring. He's got a year under his belt now. Just what areas of his game do you feel like he's most kind of improved on?
Yeah, he's playing a lot faster. So, and I think part of that just comes with feeling really comfortable with the playbook, right? He's now in year 2, right, in this offense, which I think helps a lot of guys. And he's playing a lot faster. And so I think not only has he gotten faster, which is a credit to our strength and conditioning staff, he's playing faster. And I think that's only allowing him to create more separation, in his routes. And, he's just doing an incredible job of really understanding, I think, where we want him within every pass concept too, right? So he's not only playing fast, but he might get to a certain area of the field and really settle kind of in a hole that we want him to, in zone coverage, or really understanding, hey, this is how I can lean a guy and separate in man coverage. And it's those type of things that I think, last year as a freshman, right? He's just learning the plays and going, okay, on this play, I got this route, right? And I know I got this route, right? Where now he understands, okay, well, on this route, I can do this versus this type of coverage. I can do this because there's space here. And you just seen him play a lot faster and executing at even a higher level, which is exciting to see.
What's your relationship like with Nate Bynum, just in terms of like coordinating stuff? Because they're involved in the receiving game as well. So just talk about how much kind of overlap is there between the two of you and drills that you guys do, and just how much coordination do you guys have with your respective units? Yeah,
Nate's a heck of a coach. So, he's got some great things that I've picked up on, and, hopefully he's saying vice versa, but I think there's a lot of similarities, right, when you're talking about, just how to run routes and things of that nature. And so sometimes, right, that maybe it's something that, one of us is struggling with, and it's like, hey, it's a good guy that you can kind of, it's always good to have the relationship, I think, with the tight end coach to kind of go, hey, is there something that you guys do to kind of address maybe, how to get off reroutes, right? And maybe he's got a drill that I've never done before, right? And I can maybe use that to help our guys. And so, he's a heck of a coach, right? And so definitely would, lean on him, whenever there's kind of one of those situations, because he's got some good knowledge in that area.
Just final question for you. What have you observed from the younger quarterbacks from your perspective? Miles Jackson, Elijah Brown, just what have you seen from those two guys?
Yeah, they're both growing, right, with rep by rep, right? They're getting more reps than obviously Elijah, right? He hasn't had any reps up until this spring ball because he's brand new. But even Miles, right, he's getting more reps than he did last fall camp. So watching those guys grow every practice, which has been great. They're both kind of starting to settle in, I think, and feeling more comfortable with the offense, which is where it really starts with. And for a lot of those young QBs, right, it's just getting reps over and over and over and going through the progression. And it's a little bit different too once you got kind of a live pass rush. You know what I mean? And you're actually going against a real D line versus just kind of working your drops or going through it in kind of the playbook. And so those guys are doing a great job, right? And got a long ways to go before the season starts. And I'm excited to see where both those two head.
Well, perfect. Thanks so much, Tyler, for taking the time, and good luck rest of the spring ball period.
I appreciate it. Yeah.